All right. We are live. Oh, my lights on. I need. Hello. DL King 1989. What's up? Marley. How's it going, man? How it go? How y'all doing today? Just gonna give some other people a couple minutes to come on. I usually come on a bit earlier, but I said let me start at 10 since I'm starting so late. Just get into it. Wednesday Night Live. Today we are talking about how do we make the American bully better in 2025. Rican Blues, thanks for coming on, brother. Appreciate you, man. Just gonna give them about another minute or so, and then we're just gonna just dive right in. Let me do this. This is more comfortable. So if y'all got any ideas as well, you could feel free to write them down as to how we're going to make the American bully better in 2025 before we start. Okay. So I don't know how long we're going to be on air tonight, but it's definitely going to be no more than an hour. So if it's earlier, that's what it'll be. But that's where we're going to start. Ryan Campbell, what's up, brother? Always good to see you and hear from you, man. Okay. Give okay, I gave him 3 minutes so far. I wanna I guess I'll give him 2 more minutes. I'll give him 2 more minutes. 5 minutes in total. What's up, everyone? Daniel Hudardo. Thank you for coming on. For sure, we can make it better by breeding with meaning, not just breeding for the hell of it. Heck yeah, Rican Blues. Um, I guess a lot of people do a lot of breedings that they think are good, that they think are necessary, but when you really look at it, it's like I guess when the best thing is always when you can see both dogs and you can say, well, I don't know how they complement each other or what this person is hoping to achieve, but we're gonna see what happens. All right. Podcast, Jeremy, appreciate it. You coming on, brother. Okay. 1 more minute. Give him 1 more minute. 1 more minute. We know what we are going to be been thinking about this one for the past. Well, I'm always thinking about this topic, but we only have what 2 months left in the year. So I'm always looking forward to the next year. National's going to be, I think, maybe in early December, late November. So we're going to see what all of the registries have cooking up until then. And it's a go for us. All right. So today, like I said a little earlier, we're talking about. Oh wait, sorry. Rican Blue says I have my second litter coming in a couple of days with Ramos kinfolk breeding for health, temperament, structure, and the most important for me is longevity. Okay, that's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. That's what we want to see, and that's what we're going to touch on today as well. Some of those things, and that's good that you're breeding, going in that direction. And the American bully community needs more people thinking like you, Hector. So, so we're talking about a couple of things that will make the American bully better in 2025. And obviously, most people who've been watching and following what's going on with the American bully feel like the ABKC is getting further away from that. And there have been people talking about the UKC as well. And as you guys know, I've been following, trying my best to follow what the WBA does. Those other registries, for me, it's kind of hard to follow, like the BRC and the other ones out there. So I just kind of stick to those three earlier. But one of the most important things that affects these dogs, and I even notice it in my own dogs, is the weight. I think I think I've mentioned this before. If you've been watching any of my videos, we talked about possibly having weight limits for each class. Okay, you see a lot of dogs in the show ring. They you know they're huge. It's kind of bulky, but they don't move very fluidly. And you can imagine that more times than not, if they're not moving fluidly in the ring, they're probably not going to be moving well in the yard. And some dogs just don't like the ring as well, and much of feel more free in the yard. But usually, if your dog just doesn't gait well, your dog usually isn't going to be running well. Um, you know, and I have a female that my partner and I produced together, and he had her by his brother-in-law. And this female came to me with like she was being drastically overfed. I mean, her sides were just poking out like those little puppies when they had like more than enough food. And this dog would just sit in front of a food bowl, lay down in front of a food bowl, and just eat. So her movement is terrible, not good. At the time, she's lugging around the yard. So when she came to me, because we wanted to do a breeding with her, when I saw some of the traces she had, and I was like, okay, if I cut this dog down a lot, what's she gonna look like? What are we gonna be working with? So I cut her down at least, I want to say at least 10 pounds. And she's a 14 and a half inch bitch. And this dog just loves to eat. Um, and I think when she came to me, she might have been around, I want to say around 55, close to 60 pounds of just like, but of a lot of fat. And now I have her around 50 pounds, 45. So, because 14 and a half inches is a short dog, but she's a thick dog for that size. So that's the kind of weight she's carrying. Um, and now she's moving better around the yard. She's running with my other dog, running with my neighbor's dogs, and she's doing a lot better. And she does eat kibble. Hector. They've had her eating, but I don't know what they had her eating over there, even though it was some sort of kibble. But I just have her eating straight kibble, and I think her quality of life is just a lot better, being able to move around and run better, keeping up with the other dogs, even though she can't keep up with them completely because they're a German Shepherd, a Cane Corso mixed with a Great Dane, and then there's my Suarez female. So she can't really keep up with them, but she's a whole lot better than when she came. Sometimes just laying down while the rest of them run around. So that's one thing. And exercise is also something that is tied to that as well. Because I would walk her and she would be tired pretty quickly. And then obviously the reduction in weight helped out a lot. And especially in a hot climate like this, you need to know that your dogs just don't need to be overweight. And as we see in the U.S. all the time, a lot of those big time dogs, I don't know, people usually never say why, but those big dogs, those thick pockets, always got those angels' wings on them with the halo, talking about RIP for this reason or that reason. But weight is definitely a big thing in this community. And I have been guilty of that when I first entered years ago when I didn't know any better. I didn't have any mentors, anybody to hold me accountable, anybody to teach me or guide me. And I thought, oh man, the ABKC's coming here when we had our first ABKC show. Man, I gotta pump my pocket up. I had a Remy grandson at the time. I got some pork from a local butcher and man, like free pork. And I was like, man, I pumped this dog up a whole lot, not knowing that it's not necessary. He was already a very thick pocket. Even when the judges came, they saw him, they thought he was a very big pocket. And he had a hard body and muscular, so it wasn't really a need for me to do that. Now that I'm, so far into this journey in the American Bully, almost 10 years later, but you live and you learn, and then you also share that knowledge. John Smith says, "What's your plans with your Suarez female? I'm looking for a female for my boy. Get at me." You probably gonna have to contact me on Instagram or something. I don't have a plan for her, but I don't know if I'll be able to use the male that I want. Um, so there's two males, a father or a son, and I'm deciding on those. So you can hit me up on Facebook at Lucayan Bulls John, and we can go from there. Okay. So other than the weight and exercise, in breeding, um, spoken to a guy named Jerry James. Jerry James. I think you guys might have heard of him, and he's talked about the coefficiency of inbreeding, which can limit some faults through breeding. And he has a flyer here. And actually, one of these days, we were actually going to do a live together. And it says, and I'm going to explain a little bit of what it does. Um, it promotes health and well-being, maintains genetic diversity, increases longevity, increases litter size and conception rates, and minimizes detrimental effects of inbreeding. Before I get into that, let me just read what package Jeremy says. It's the same reason all these young bodybuilders are dying. Too much mass for the heart to keep up. Just my 2 cents. You're correct. And I think I saw you say something like that on Facebook. It's just too much. The body is just not designed to carry that amount of weight. We've talked about this so much, and I see people packing on weight into their dogs like a 17-inch American Bully, 18-inch. Your dog doesn't need to be 110 pounds. If your dog is doing quite fine at 100 instead of 110, I promise you that's a big difference for that dog. Okay? Maybe even like 98, 97, if you can. These dogs like I hate looking at American Bullies and like they have a stomach underneath. It's like it's not even necessary. You can tell they're just being fed more for that look of mass. Regan Blue says he's good. I used him for both of my breedings. Who? Who are you talking about? Are you talking about kinfolk? Okay. Oh, you're talking about Jerry James. Okay, okay. Hey, Benny, thanks for coming on from Baltimore. Ravens all day, baby. Ravens all day. So, and speaking to Jerry James, I think with the coefficiency with the things I read to you just now, I think the number that they were looking for was like between 14 to 16% for American bullies. And I embarked my dogs not really knowing that they came with the COI. I forgot that. And I had my male that was 21% and my female that was 28%. And before I even found out about him, I already had two litters with these dogs. So I bred a dog with 21% and 28%. So the puppies came out, um, most of what we were looking for. But now that I know that there's so much similar ancestors, the breeding that we're doing next is going to be a good outcross. So we're hoping to lower that inbreeding rate, the coefficient of that, by a good much. So hopefully in February, March, if all goes well, that's what we're going to be doing. And I think we talked about it maybe last week or so, or maybe 2 weeks. We talked about just limiting, the faults that we're compounding when we breed. Okay, and then another thing that I want to touch is just about which would have helped me greatly when I first started is finding an accountability or a partner, someone that you find objective. Okay, if you don't have, even if you don't have a partner like with your kennel, if you don't have a friend or someone that can tell you the truth about what you're doing, that will give you honest evaluations of your dogs or your program or your practices, you're already lost. I might as well tell you. Even if you're not doing things wrong intentionally and just trying to find ways to make like use this breed for money, you'll end up like me, who I just wanted to make the best dog possible, but I feel like I guess it's my own fault in a way that I feel like certain people didn't want me to get certain dogs or certain blood, and I feel like they was probably trying to hold me back in a way. So I didn't really have a mentor to teach me, and I lost thousands of dollars. I got scammed a few times just because I was just trying this thing out for myself, and not learning from others who were in better positions than me, from their successes and from their failures. And for some of those I just didn't have access to those people like I do now. Greetings, Brookhouse Booze. Appreciate you coming on. And like Rican says, your mentor should be doing that. But you have so many people that enter the game, the community without mentors. And then they end up realizing that and a lot of times too, they end up starting off with the wrong mentors because they don't understand everything that this American bully is. And this American bully is tough because these dogs aren't today, I should say, aren't as durable. Their immune systems aren't as strong. So many bad genes have already been compounded upon on top of each other. And when you have people that are really good marketers, sometimes you just having a lack of knowledge of the American bully and the type of people that are in this community, you can end up spending thousands of dollars on a dog that is a pet. I know people that have bought dogs that have had crazy allergies, skin allergies, and then breeding these dogs. And then you have people who've had dogs that have like really bad hips, like a friend of mine, and he had his vet spayed, neutered his dog. Not even telling him, just like, look, this is not breed quality. This is not what's best for you to be doing. And it's the same reason why, there was a guy complaining on Facebook the other day that his vet wouldn't serve him his American bully because the insurance company said to the vet, if you serve American bullies, we're going to cut you off. And that's what's happening. And I'm not even going to pretend like it's easy to find good mentors because I know it's very hard. Like I said, I had a mentor, I should say, in a way I started off with, but he was a local guy that was kind of popular for a lot of. He bred a lot of dogs, produced a lot of good dogs too. But he went into the bulldog American Bully mixes. So we disagreed on dogs in that way, but from his knowledge and experience with dealing with so many different dogs, he had the game dogs, the reds, the blues. He was there for most of it. So I learned a lot from him. But it's just that when it comes to the actual dogs, he chose to mix the American Bully with bulldogs because that's a look he liked. But I just chose to not take part in that, but agree, but take his knowledge from what he knew about whelping, about feeding, about how he would exercise his dogs, things of that nature. And now today, I have, like I said, I think the last live we did, I've bought so many dogs from so many different people over the years, trying to find dogs that were healthy and good that I've made a lot of friends and a lot of connections. And now I have a lot of people, a large network of people that I can go to or call on for a lot of help and a lot of advice before I make a move that is not costly. And they're very experienced people. That's the great thing. So I advise you, um, you know, eh, most of you guys that are watching you are usually more experienced. So if you can help someone in the right direction, remember where you used to be. And any knowledge that you have that can save someone, from making a huge mistake, share that. That's what I believe in. If you know better, help someone to do better and teach them. They say you don't have to feed a man or something like that. The saying goes, if you can teach him how to fish, and that's something I'm big on, and that's a part of why I started the YouTube channel because I've had so much bad experiences with the breed, and I want to help people to avoid a lot of the things that I do. And I can say here in the Bahamas that I have been able to help a few people, and it may not have been a whole lot because, we have a whole exotic bulldog merle thing going on here. But the few that try to do traditional American bullies, I know that I have impacted them and helped in any way that I can, you know? So, and that's what it's about, man. We got to stick together and we can help the American bully advance. Okay? Rican Blue says people are just concentrating on genes. Environment and nutrition plays a big part. That is true. Environment and nutrition also does play a big part. Because some of the dogs I bought when I was into the XLs, I bought a red bear son, red bear, and they bred red bear to Caribou Lou's daughter. If you guys know anything about the XLs, Caribou Lou is I think probably the first XL Grand Champion. And I was like, man, I gotta get a dog from that. So I got it. Beautiful dog, beautifully built. Um, he was allergic to chicken. And I only knew when I came back home from a vacation and I had the gardeners feeding him. And he, like, I told him to feed the dog every day. They fed the dog one huge bowl of food, like all the way to the top. And I come back and I'm like, what the heck is this? You didn't feed him every day. So he broke out. He broke out in all these hives, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? And so I had to pay for an allergy test, and the allergy test at that time was a couple $100. But I had to figure out what was going on, and he was. I had two dogs that had allergies at two different times. He was just allergic to chicken. So once I avoided that, that was fine with him. But another one I had was allergic to almost every grass. And I was like, man, I wonder if I had him in the US or if he stayed in America, if his allergies would have been as bad because he was allergic to every grass pretty much that at least I could say that for sure that we had hair. There was anytime I let this guy out run the yard, like his hair would be dropping out the next day. So environment, and I've heard doctors and people talk about environment as well. Brickhouse says we need new blood. Everything is two times Rocco or Grim at this point, which is true. On both sides of that, Robert says my dog head got from 23 to 23 and a half, depending on her weight, 75 pounds standard size. My dog is a backyard dog. Yeah, that happens when you feed your dog, um, and he gains weight and maybe a little bit of fat as well, probably especially in the head area. That can happen. And if your dog is also a younger dog, then your dog is probably still growing as well. But like I say in Brickhouse, we do need. I don't know if we need new blood. We just need more combinations. I believe we need more combinations. And that's one of the things I was going to touch on tonight as well. Robert says he fed her chicken, and I'm breeding her to Chubbs. Is Chubb? I don't know if that's Terrell's dog or not, but all the best with that, brother. But okay, yes, okay, that's a big boy. But like I said, I don't think we need new blood. I was gonna save it for later, but we could touch it now. We need more combinations of blood. We need more collaborations. Okay, and when you see the thumbnail for this, you're gonna understand. That's a part of what I want to touch on as well, and what I would like to see. We can't get better as a community if we don't share. And a lot of people, even here in the Bahamas, people are fighting like, oh well, I don't want to breed with this guy to help him make better dogs, and then his stud gets the credit, or I don't want to breed to these people. I don't really like them too much or whatever. And of course that happens. You're obviously not going to do breedings with people that you probably don't like, but if we can try to sit back and be more level headed and objective and say, hey, nothing personal, no hard feelings, but I would like to do a breeding with you. I would like to add the blood of some of what you got. Would you be interested in doing a collaboration? And if not, if you got to pay for it, I guess, and that they're not interested in what you're doing as a collaboration. You can pay for it. I see a lot of good breeders who are like, man, I don't have the females for the male I have. And I'm like, bro, just go and buy another dog. There's nothing worse than a physical specimen of an American bully not being able to be bred to see what he can produce. That's the only kind of time when I believe that people really need to be breeding. When you have really good dogs, because the people that don't have very good dogs are the ones breeding a lot, and that's what we need to combat. And that's a situation. We need more collaborations, and I know for sure that you're going to see some in 2025. Can't let the cat out of the bag yet with some big time guys, but you're definitely going to see some. Inzaratha says it's the stuff they feed the chickens and meds they put in them. They are almost GMO chickens, I bet. Organic backyard raised chickens would be okay. That's a good point too. That's a very good point. We don't need new blood. Look at Suarez, Lee, and Oscar Gomez. They use a lot of old blood. It's how you breed them. Yes, a gaudy line, an edge, and old school lines. Nothing too inbred. And Burkow says, when I say new blood, I mean different blood, not a whole dog made out of whatever. I got you. That's how I was kind of thinking. Tyrone Smith Jr. says, not enough unity within the American bully community or American community. Exactly. And I agree. Brickout says a lot of these dogs come from Suarez stuff, Muscle Tone, Remy Bully, Market, or the big extreme names. And it's true. If you because the community is so divided. When you look at the the edge community, okay, let's look at the edge strains. You have when you look at the pedigrees, you're only gonna find like a handful of programs. I can promise you that. At least especially when I came in, you were gonna find Suarez, you were gonna find Denzel, and you were going to find Remy. Those three was the most popular by far. Oscar stuff I didn't see a lot of on the outside of the West Coast. Robert Lee, same thing. Only when Bistro had that movement going on, I saw a lot of the Bistro and some Peds, but Denzel, even to this day, a whole lot of Denzel, a whole lot of Paco, a whole lot of Remy. Well, Remy not as much, and trying to think of who else. But those were the heavy, strong ones that I could see. And then from the dark side, it was like Louis V was a very popular one. I hadn't seen a lot of Lucky Luciano. I'm trying to think of who else at the time. Dang, I can't remember. But now we obviously know that there's a lot of Rocco, Grim and Brim, and Rocco himself is 4 times Dax. Grim, I think, is inbred Rocco, and if I remember correctly. So it's like, and then and I'm a part of that as well, where I try to stay away from that side of what's his name, like that Rocco stuff, but only because of the health issues. The health issues, well, yeah, just I'm afraid of it. But the like if I had the food with some docs, I tried some Luciano before almost. Ended up losing my deposit on that, and then come to find out that the litter wasn't. They had allergies, so I kind of lucked out there. Trying to figure out how do you outcross because it's a big divide. I had a phenom. My partner had a phenom bitch. Blood looked, carried a lot of those traits, and then ended up having allergies. We bred her. The pup, the only living pup, ended up having allergies. So I hadn't had a lot of good experience with the Dax dogs, and doesn't mean that everyone has bad experiences, but that's just me. So if I can find something that is healthy, I'm willing to do it because I believe. But I would like to see. I don't necessarily want to own it, but I want to see it first to see that it's healthy before I get involved. But Tyrone Smith says Robert Lee and Noblish reaction really opened my eyes to a lot. I guess you'd have to explain that, Tyrone. But Robert Vaughn says I didn't buy directly from none of them till I'm gonna get with Terrell. Okay. And Pocket says, yeah, I agree. We don't need more blood. We need to focus on line breeding what we have, and the consistency would be way better. Which I guess it depends on what you have in your program, because I know a lot of people already have a lot of line breeding if you talk about the edge, but I guess it depends on exactly what you're talking about. Brickhouse says exactly my point. We need different stuff from that old blood. Robert Vaughn says I bought my dog from a backyard breeder because his phenom. Everyone is looking for that one dog versus pushing for having litters of champions and grand champions. Robert Rocco has Remy Line in him. Weekend Blue says True Tank, Minklin, and Pratt. Yeah, those as well. I would like to see collaborations as well. Tyrone Smith said the Elite Edge was a true representation of the kennel collaboration that the American bully community. Yes, it is. But unfortunately, that doesn't exist today. Robert says my last two breeds, two dogs came out only they were dead. Direct Lucky Luciano's son. Interesting. And Nell Mark says, yes, sir, I agree. I did an inbreeding with classic pit bulls, bullies, and the pups are 3 times bigger and better. One has a bully body with more pit bull face. I need a real bull collaboration. Well, I'm sure you can find someone here to do a collaboration with Nell Mack, you know. Um, and Robert Vaughn says he is a other clean stud I got locked in. GG Direct Lucky Luciano last breeding. Okay, okay. And I guess to touch on what you said, Nell Bach, it's important to kind of understand that when you're breeding, and this is only from my experience and what I've seen too, because no two dogs are the same. Okay, um, there's a reason people try to breed to Samson and not his little mate brother. You know, I know the common train of thought is that if you can't get to the stud, try to breed to his brother. But it's just not the same. That's why for most big time dogs, um, their little mates. Let's stick with the males for example. The little mates are either in like homes that don't really care about breeding, or they're not the same level of producer. You know, it's just like some of us who have siblings. We have siblings, but we're not alike at all. You know, you may be pretty athletic, and your sibling might just not have it at all. You know, and that's what happens, and that's a part of what we talked about. I think a lot on the last live as well of them selling this dream that my entire litter is always consistent. Um, um, Everyone, pups 1 through 8, they all had big bone, all had great head shapes and great head sizes, and they all had a lot of mass. All that it's a dream. You're gonna have a couple here and there, but very very rarely. Think about it. Think about the amount of litters that you can actually think about that have litter mates that are grand champions. You can barely think of them. I can think of, like, maybe Waffle House has a couple of litters like that. Sweet and Low has a couple of litters with litter mates that are grand champions. Um, and those are the two that just really stand out in my mind. I know Sweet and Low because she produced grand champions in several different litters, and that was when confirmation day, because he was still big on confirmation. But definitely got to stick together with this and figure this thing out, because don't believe everything you hear. Okay, and I'm here to tell you. Tyrone says the American bully community is too sensitive and selfish. Exactly. This breed should be way more ahead than what it is today. Yes, Denzel has a few, I believe. Yeah, he definitely has. Yeah, I'm not sure if in the same litter, but definitely has grand champion kids. No question about it. Same thing for like Bistro and Lucky Luciano, and they are. But I just mean in the same litter. Um, and I was looking back at speaking of what Tyrone said. I was looking at a lot of litters. Sorry, not a lot of litters. A lot of dogs, um, older famous dogs, especially the edge ones that we've come to love and know. And I was like, man, these dogs aren't really as, a lot of them aren't as clean as I thought they were. They had a lot of good features, don't get me wrong, but all those years ago, they weren't as clean as I thought they were. Now, a lot of them were bred in a way that they produced better dogs in themselves, but a good amount of them just weren't as clean as I had hoped or had thought or were led to believe. However, you would think that from 10, 15 years ago, that people would be breeding in a much better direction conformationally. And that's not what's happening. Um, It's almost as if they might as well just add the high rear and the stiff stifles to the standard for the breed. The tail set, forget about it. Um, they no one is trying to breed for that now. It just don't even make sense. Um, but what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we gonna do to try to combat that? Another thing that that has to matter is breeding for longevity. Hector touched on it earlier. Rican blues. That's what we have to do. We should be able to breed some of these American bullies and get dogs that live for 14, 15 years. These dogs have to stop topping out at 6 and 7 years old. And for the girthy pocket ones, 4 years old and 5 years old. We gotta stop that. It doesn't look good as a breed. And I'm not spending thousands of dollars on a dog that you can't show me a history of dogs on your yard of the dog's parents and they're still alive. Heck no. Like Rocco is one, he lived a lot longer than a lot of some of his kids and grandkids. Lucky Luciano is still alive. I think he may be like 12 or 13, something like that. Denzel, I think, lived a good long life as well. I know over at Weight and Goals, he has dogs that live, 14, 13, and even maybe 15. Yeah, but I know it's like over 10 on the regular. Um, and that's what we should be. That should be the aim. That should be the goal. And that's what we should be trying to give clients. You know, I always prefer a pet home over selling a dog to a person that has a program because those people spoil it. They spoil your dogs and treat your dogs just like a family member, and then they become repeat clients, and they tell people about your dogs as well. And then the breed, not even if you put yourself to the side, the breed gets a better name. And they're like, man, where did you get that dog from? What kind of dog is it? It's an American bully. I got it from this guy. His dog lives a long time. I heard those dogs don't really live long. Not my American bully. I got it from Jeff down, 3 miles down the street. And man, my dog is 10 and his father is still there at 12, 13 at the house. So, it's just about what we're trying to do for this breed. And longevity has to be a part of that. And that's going to stop the veterinarians from and their insurance companies from cutting off service. And that's important. Imagine selling an American bully to someone that doesn't know anything about what's going on with this breed. And they go to the vet that's in their area and tell them, no, I don't serve those dogs. After they spent thousands of dollars with you for the dog. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. And like Tyrone said, people in this community are too sensitive. I hate it. It's like everyone sensitive on earth is breeding American bullies. That's how it feels sometimes. When you see people posting or you talk about this and that. But Daniel says, I had some of Oscar's dogs that lived till 14 years old. It's interesting that you said that because he said to me that that's one of the things that his clients say that they look for his dogs for longevity. That's important. And I appreciate you sharing that, Daniel. We appreciate that. And Parkers, Jeremy says, Tank still producing at 12. That's crazy. That's good stuff. If he's producing at 12, that's amazing. I think Lucky Luciano has a breeding coming up too. Alex might have said, but I don't know if that's from straws or not. But I guess we'll find out. But Tyrone says, I love the American bully, but I must admit, and Joel really helped me realize this, but I don't understand how to match a pedigree. I'm learning, but still haven't gotten it yet. And Tyrone, there's no problem with that. I think What you need to do is find an objective mentor. If Joel is your mentor, all the best with him. I think if that's the one you're referring to from No Bullish. Um, Matching pedigrees isn't that hard. But speak to someone with more experience. I always speak to people with more experience than myself, and I don't even have as so much experience. I have more theory and knowledge, and I have my own experience from what I've learned from readings that taught me that everything that everyone has said isn't exactly true. Some of it is, and some of it isn't, and that's why reading yourself teaches you some of those things. But matching a pedigree, if you can save yourself trouble by asking someone who's bred similar blood or knows someone that has bred similar blood, what has been the result of these combination of dogs with these pedigrees? And you can, go on Bullypedia. It's a great tool to use. You can see what the puppies look like. They have the owners' names, so you can contact those people. Just depends on how far you want to go in your research and due diligence and find out. Because there aren't, to be honest with you, I mean, not that there aren't new combinations, but in a way, the strains can be different. There can be new strains like this hasn't been bred to this in this way. Depending on the dogs change in different generations in that kind of way. But a lot of combinations also have been done already. Some haven't been good, some have been good, depending on what the person was looking for. Because some people say, "Oh, I did a breeding with this, but they didn't like it." But the other person liked what they produce. So that's something as well that you may want to look out for. But talk to someone who's experienced and that you find to be very objective. And if I can help you point with something or helping you find someone that's more experienced than even myself, I will do that for you. Okay. Nelmark says, I have never seen the bullies on the stack table in real life. Who's buying them? Tch, a lot of people are, I promise you that. Um, when I went to Oklahoma a couple of years ago, they were on the stack table. And I promise you, they're not keeping them if they're not making any money. That's just the kind of way those people think, you know? Freaking Blue says, that's I stick to the old lines. They lived for a long time. My girl's dad is about 9 years old. Her grandfather just passed at about 12. And her mother is past 6 years old. Okay. That's what's up. That's what we kind of want. That's longevity. And you got if you got those genes, it's a good start. That's something you definitely want in your program. Tyrone says, I used to really see it as in like 2 times this, 5 times that. But he isn't my mentor. He has a channel that puts a lot of free knowledge that should cost. I got you. Yeah. Yeah. Most people, when you come in, if you've heard of the breed from popularity, or people who just like dogs, the 2 times this and 5 times this, a lot of people, even me, came in on that and trying to figure out what is what. A lot of people have fallen into that. But sometimes it's necessary, sometimes it isn't, you know? Robert says, my female puts to shame a lot of males. No lie. The females make a difference. You got to have a big biad. Okay. And it's true. Females are very important. This is one community that often forgets that. The studs are not all King Midas. Whatever they touch doesn't just um, the studs don't just produce magic. You know what I'm saying? Um, you gotta buy a she-male to produce. I had a she-male. I don't really. I wish I had bred her more because I seen what she's produced with a very small male, and I liked what we got. And I wish I had a chance to put it with bigger males. But that it is what it is. Jay Finesse said, "Why Terrell from Hall of Fame put you on blast?" I haven't heard about that. I heard some. I don't know if that was you or somebody else that commented on my videos the other day saying that, but I haven't heard him say anything. So as far as I know, we're all good. He He has my number. He can reach out to me if there's, if there's anything. But as far as I know, we're good. Um, Robert says, "True, true. I'm gonna clone my dog in the future." Man, you got a lot of money. Because I know Robert Lee is supposed to be cloning Bistro. Well, I think he said he was cloning him maybe a year or so ago, and that hasn't happened yet. So I don't know what is going to happen there. But I know that is quite a pretty penny. And the author says, "Yeah, I'm thinking of using the same stud on a different female in my yard, so then I can breed these half sisters, children or grandchildren together in the future." And that's not a bad idea. I know I have a friend that does that as well. He usually takes one stud to a couple of sisters and maybe an auntie to see what he gets. And I mean, he's a real breeder, you know, because you're gonna end up with a lot of dogs, a lot of puppies, and that's what he does. But I can't, I can't imagine doing something like that. The breeder's life is not a life for me. I um, I love the American Bully, but being a full time breeder, I can't do. And I've obviously explained it to a lot of you guys before as well, with being in the Bahamas and having a lot of hurricanes in the past and possibly some in the future. I can't afford to have a whole lot of dogs that live outdoors because it'll end up pretty badly. So I got to keep my numbers low, and I let you guys do the breeding, and I'll breed once a year or once every other year. Brickout said it's hard to pull off. To be honest, I can imagine. Guys, hit that like button for me if you haven't, so we can help the channel grow. I appreciate you guys doing that for me. Yeah, Brickout says if I didn't have help, I wouldn't do it. Me either. I wouldn't if I. My wife is good. She helps me out with the puppies when I have them, but I'm not trying to put her through that. Um, if I don't have to, because it's not just about me. Yeah. Oh, another thing I wanted to touch on was the OFA and pen hips again. Oh, no, not again. Sorry. If we're trying to put the best specimens possible, you need to get your dog's hips tested. Something I haven't done yet. Trying to learn more about it and figure out how I can do that all the way from the Bahamas because I guess I'm going to send it to somewhere in the U.S. and your dogs. I think obviously have to be of a certain age because puppies would obviously still be growing. In that hip area and the bones in the back there. I mean, that develops a lot as pups get older. So something we're going to look into more. But the UKC, this is going to be big for the American Bully, I believe. The UKC, if I'm not, if I'm correct, they have a breed club, and it's probably going to become mandatory. The OFA and the PENIPs and the health testing, the Embark and other platforms that companies that do that health testing, and it's probably these things are probably going to become mandatory within the UKC, and that's a good thing. Simply Southern Bully says OFA requires 2 years old. Thank you for that, Marlena in Florida, my girl. So this breed club with the UKC is going to be it can be a big thing for our breed. If you want to see the American Bully bred more strictly, breeders held accountable. I think that's what the direction that the UKC is going in, and I would hope that they also have a diagram to show you what their vision of the American Bully looks like, and it's a beautiful dog that isn't overweight, that isn't overdone like the ABKC diagram, and I love that. And I believe in the UKC American Bully. They're trying to become more consistent, but what they're doing so far, I love it. They're having their ups and downs, but I see where they're going, and I see what they're trying to do. And a breed club for the American Bully. Oh my gosh, something that we always needed, and it's a step in the right direction. And they need our help. You, me. Sorry. You got to get up to those shows so they can see good American bullies. You have to spread the word. You have to share knowledge. You have to help people breed better dogs when they don't know better, and that's how we help. You help one person at a time. This is not an unachievable task. When people are breeding terrible, dogs with bad genetics, the American bully, that doesn't have to be us. And like I said, if you're here watching this video, you obviously want better for the American bully. And that's why I do what I do. That's why I always appreciate coming on with you guys and having these conversations, because it's encouraging to talk to people that care about the breed and want better and that know better. And when you know better, you should do better. Okay. We got a couple of minutes left, guys. We're coming close to an hour, so if there's anything that you guys have you want to share, let me know. Tyrone says, shout out to your channel, Big Dog. I appreciate the free talk that you have. Like, yes, man, I appreciate you guys and your support. Like I say, anytime you guys want to talk, you hit me up on Facebook and Messenger, or inbox, or what do you call it? Instagram or Messenger, and we can talk and go from there, man. Always trying to help. I'm always trying to share, and more importantly, I'm always trying to learn. And like we talked about in getting a mentor, don't believe someone that tells you that has an answer for everything, because there isn't an answer for everything. The breed is too inconsistent right now. So just keep that in mind. Try to be objective. Really try to be objective. When you think about the breeding practices that you have, feel free to run them by your vet and see what your veterinarian thinks. I promise you, sometimes you're going to get completely different advice. And if you trust your vet to take care of your dogs, you may trust them. You may want to trust them in taking advice about the breeding practices as well. Rican Blue says, I give my breeder and mentor a lot of respect. I think you speak to him too. He is very knowledgeable and willing to teach and help anyone when it comes to dogs. Marquise Ramos Bully Camp. Marquise is one of my boys, one of my guys, man. Florida boy. Got nothing but love for him down there. You feel me? Cool guy. We talk a lot too. I mean, not as much recently, but when we get in, we get in, and I like what he's doing as well. He's one of the people that I call a rock and rupee plug, because he has a lot of it and he believes in it, and I like the rock and rupee stuff too. So we always talk. So you got a good mentor, brother. Future Robert says, I'm gonna have a nice stud in the future. Look out for me too. Thanks, Lucas. That's what's up, man. But I want to say thank you for you guys coming on tonight. Before we wrap this up, I appreciate you guys. The channel is nothing without you. If there are topics that you want me to talk about, message them to me. Feel free to leave a comment under the other videos or anything like that. If it's a relative topic, But like I said, the channel is nothing without you guys. We appreciate your support, and we're gonna keep going to make this American bully community better. But we have to do it together. All right. So once again, thank you guys for coming on, and I will see you guys next week.